Hi guys, it's Vana Ballerina, and today I had wanted to discuss um, getting pregnant after a ectopic pregnancy and a miscarriage. Okay, so let's start off by saying that an ectopic pregnancy is one of the most dangerous pregnancies you can have. It's basically where the baby implants outside of the uterus and inside of your fallopian tubes, or it could possibly be your abdominal cavity. But mine was implanted in one of my fallopian tubes, which was my left fallopian tube. So, so that pregnancy unfortunately did not work out because a baby cannot live outside of the uterus. And if you let the baby continue to grow and grow and grow, you could rupture and you could die. So that happened to me. I found out I was pregnant with my second child, and it was it was about January, the end of January. I had found out like January 27th that I was pregnant, and I was super, super stoked, super happy. We were excited and happy, and later on that day, I have started bleeding. I had like some bad cramping on one side. It was only on the left side. It was horrible, horrible pain. At first, I was like, you know what? It's just probably just the pregnancy. And I was like, wait, this hurt way too bad. I kind of stuck it out that day, even though it hurted horrible. But the next morning, I went to the bathroom to use the bathroom, and it was blood all in the toilet seat, and it was horrible. So, and the pain actually did leave, but the blood is what made me like, you know what? I think I need to go to the ER. So I went to the ER, and the ER, of course, they checked me. They said the baby was growing, and they think I'm just early on or whatever. So we'll just see. And they said the blood that I showed them wasn't a lot, and they said as long as the pain stopped, everything might be okay. And so I had my health, I had my head held high and just prayed that it would work out. And when I went back home, the pain returned right back, and it was just horrible. It was like the worst pain ever. And so I returned back to the hospital. The hospital checked, and they took my HCG levels, and they told me this time my HCG level that it rose a little bit, but not enough. They said it rose a little bit. It didn't double at all. So they was telling me that it might be ectopic pregnancy and miscarriage, or it might just be rising slowly, but more likely the pregnancy won't work out. So they told me to just keep watching out for things and to come back if the cramping gets worse or the bleeding gets worse. So that was really sad for me, and I just knew that it probably wasn't going to be a baby once they said, that it wasn't doubling. So they checked my HCG levels again, and they said they're going to check it again after that and see how everything is going. So when they checked it the third time, they said that it wasn't rising at all and that it actually went down. So that was just proof that it wasn't going to work out. So I was like, okay. And it was like, but we think it's just a miscarriage. We don't think it's ectopic pregnancy because your pain would be worse. And I was like, okay. So I went back home and just preparing for the miscarriage to happen, to just bleed like crazy and stuff. I kept getting a whole bunch of pain along with the blood. And so I had to keep going back because the pain was just so horrible. It was horrible that I was literally in the bathroom on the floor, and my fiance saw me. He was like, no, you need to go to the hospital now. And he made me go to the hospital. And so I went to the hospital, and they kept giving me scans, and they kept saying they don't see the baby in no location. Like they're not finding it in the uterus, fallopian tubes, they're not seeing the baby anywhere. So they was like, we can't tell you if it's ectopic, we don't know, we can't find anything. So we're just going to have to keep checking your HCG levels till they go back down to zero, and just basically keep giving you scans to see if you see anything. And so I kept doing that, and the pain finally reached its like peak, where it was bad. I was crying, screaming, and I wasn't able to really talk. So my mom was there, and she actually called the ambulance for me, and she had watched my son, who was only 11 months at the time, and his birthday was literally like a couple days later, and I had to like still try to like have his birthday party, and I went through so much pain. But anyway, so she called the ambulance. They came and got me, and they finally decided to just do more tests. They had to do an MRI scan to find out exactly what was going on. And the MRI scan finally showed it was indeed an ectopic pregnancy. It was not never in the uterus, and luckily they said the baby had died on its own, and I didn't need no treatment, because usually they give you something called mesotrizo, something like that. Kind of hard to say the name, but luckily they said I didn't need that, or I didn't need surgery. So basically it was a ectopic pregnancy, but I was able to, my body got rid of it on its own, and my HCG levels have went down to probably like 5 or 6, and they was like, okay, so you do have scar tissue, and they were telling me that future pregnancies, it can happen again, and and that's always going to be stuck with me forever. And I really was scared, like, that I wasn't going to be able to have any more children, and it was just so scary, and I was so sad. I was so depressed, crying like almost every single day, and it was just so scary, and it's a horrible thing to go through. So I had to. It took me a while to actually feel better. My stomach was actually sore for a very long time, like extremely sore, and I would say it was sore for about 2 whole months. And finally, I was back to myself again. I am a ballet dancer, and I do like gymnastics and all that stuff. So I had to put all my dancing on hold, and I finally was able to do gymnastics and dance again. And this was 2 months later, when I started back dancing in May. That type of pregnancy happened starting in at the end of January, but it prolonged all the way to like February 15th or 16th or whatever. And this was of the year of 2020. So, I'm sorry, the year of 2021, not 2020. And yeah, so yeah, 2 months later, I started back just focusing on my dancing. Like, I'm just gonna focus on dancing, whatever. And so I was focusing back on doing my ballet and stuff, and back to making my dance videos. And I had missed my period again, and this was in May of 2021. So about 2.5 months later, or 3 months, no, 3 months later, because they told me they didn't want me to get pregnant again until 3 months later after that type of pregnancy. And yes, I was pregnant again, and unfortunately, um, that pregnancy didn't work out neither. It wasn't an ectopic pregnancy this time. It was a miscarriage. I had like 2 whole days of excitement, like, oh, I'm pregnant again and all that stuff. But I was also worried because of what happened to me before. And it's crazy because I started bleeding all over again. And I was like, oh my God, this could be another ectopic pregnancy. And so I went into the hospital, and they told me, like, you're pregnant, but your HCG levels are so low. They're so low that they're definitely not, we know that they're not going to progress. And she told me that they believe it's just a miscarriage. They didn't find any like ectopic about it. Like, they gave me scans, and I didn't find anything again. And I wasn't having that pain on one side this time. It was just period cramps with bleeding. So it was just a miscarriage. That one wasn't an ectopic pregnancy, but it was horrible. And I was like, oh my God, 2 losses in a row. And it was the worst thing ever for me. And I was just crying. I just thought it was just over for me. And I was never going to be able to get pregnant again and have a healthy baby or a healthy pregnancy. So I was so sad, and I just prayed about it. I just kept praying about it, and um, 2 months later, fast forward to July of 2021, I was feeling sick, and I just wasn't feeling good. I actually felt like I was a diabetic or something. Like it felt like my sugar levels or something wasn't right. Like I felt off. I was very dizzy. I was so dizzy that I almost bumped into my refrigerator, and I was having like some tingling, numbing type of feeling in my back, hands, and feet. And then I kept having like some. My heartbeat just kept going so fast for nothing, and I just didn't feel well. I was like, "What is going on?" I was nauseous. And so I went to the hospital asking them to check me for diabetes because that's what I thought I had. And the doctor said, okay, we'll check you for that. And I was like, you can also just give me a pregnancy test just to give me one. And so the doctor was like, okay. So they checked everything. They said my sugar levels were okay. Nothing was wrong. I'm not a diabetic. But they was like, they need to inform me that I am pregnant. And I was like, oh my God, here we go again. And I was like, huh. And I was crying because I didn't know to be happy or sad. And so it was just very scary for me. So I just had to like wait until time passed and see how it goes. And, I wasn't having pain, uh, like that. I had pain every once in a while, like my second and third week when I made it to the second and third week of the pregnancy. And so they decided to go ahead and check the location this time since I had ectopic before. And this time they told me like your baby is in the uterus, and that is all we know. We know it's in the uterus. It's not in your fallopian tube. It's in the right spot. And I was just so happy. And it was like your HCG levels are looking great right now as well. So I just took that and ran with it. Like, oh, this pregnancy might work out. So, and after that, as weeks went by, I was really, really nauseous. It was horrible. The nauseous was, I was so nauseous that I had to get a nausea ban. And so I was dealing with a lot of nausea. And I was like, okay, well, that must be a sign everything is going good. And, the next thing you know, I started seeing blood. Like, started bleeding brown blood. And I was so scared that every time I saw brown blood, I ran to the hospital to get it checked out. But guess what they told me? They was like, you're bleeding, but we don't know why. Your baby is fine. Your baby has a heartbeat, and it's great. Your baby does have a heartbeat, and the gestational sac is there, and everything. The yolk sac is all in the right spot, and they were just saying everything was normal. They don't know why I was bleeding. So I'm like, okay. And honestly, I just kept on like having like random bleeds all the way till I reached 14 weeks. And I had a lot of ultrasounds because of that, because they wanted to see why I was bleeding. And come to find out, it was like a hematoma type of thing, and it just basically like where like blood like collects or whatever. But I mean, sometimes it can cause miscarriages, but that don't mean it will. And it was really small and tiny, so I guess that's probably what was causing the bleeding. But the bleeding eventually stopped, and once the bleeding stopped, I stopped worrying. And yeah, and here I am now. I am 35 weeks, and here is the big old baby bump. I'm having another boy. My stomach is so huge. And the point of me making this video is to let you guys know that if you have faith and you pray, things will work out for you. And it worked out for me, and I'm just letting you know you can get pregnant fast again after a ectopic pregnancy. And they might or they might not work out, but as you can see, it worked out for me. And I'm hoping whoever watching this video, if you're going through what I went through, that it works out for you. So yeah, that is all I wanted to let you guys know, that you definitely can get pregnant again, and your pregnancy definitely can work out for you. I am right now pregnant with a baby that's healthy in the womb, and look how far along I made it. 35 weeks, and I just have 3 more weeks to go. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I wish you guys the best of luck, and wishing baby dust on the ones who do want to get pregnant and succeed. I'm hoping for the best for you guys, but just know if it worked out for me and a lot of other people, it will work out for you. You might have a couple fails, but eventually it might work out for you. So thank you guys so much for watching my video, and please do not forget to check out my what's in my hospital bag and baby bag video, and I will be doing a nursery tour video as well, so don't forget to check that out. And I will be doing a labor and delivery video, so check that out as well when that time comes. But thank you guys for watching, and please don't forget to like this video and subscribe.